Good morning, everyone. How are you doing? This is Amanda. Today is the 28th of October, 2025. Yes, you are watching this a good few days after I recorded it. This is a pre-recorded video because I am going on holiday, so getting a few videos in the can. This is a very requested video and it is one for the plight of the UK at the moment. I have many UK followers and many people concerned about the state of the country, the timeline that we're on, the current government and Prime Minister. Some of the things that they're trying to introduce, including stuff that was not in their manifesto, and that would include digital ID. Also probably touch on something such as mansion tax, cost of living crisis. There's a lot to get through. But I'm going to just widen this really, not just with regards to UK government, but I'd like to talk also about the UK generally. So we might very well weave in, for example, royal family information, anything really that wants to come through. Okay, where I feel I'd like to start, because this is a big old subject to get our teeth into, is I'm going to pull a card from this deck, and it might seem a strange choice of deck, maybe it doesn't. It's actually one that is linked into the dragons. Okay, so dragons of old, dragons energy that is still here with us. I believe that everything is just through a different dimensional veil, and that the dragons are just as real as your dog or cat that's walking in the room at the moment. We can summon in the energy of dragons to help us right now, to transmute a lot of the negativity that's out there, to clear the air, to prepare the way for a higher timeline to hopefully come in. But I would like to see what they have to say to the British people right now. Okay, so let's just shuffle this deck, and I'm going to start here, and then we will have a look and drill down into some of the specifics. Okay. All right, so for the UK people, what is the main message right now? Okay, so the main message that comes up is listen to self. And that's really interesting to me because I have also pulled 3 cards that I'll show you in a moment. I've only pulled 3 cards because I wanted to do it live, as it were, with you. But last night I pulled 3 just with regards to particularly the UK government and Keir Starmer. And the first card that comes out, I don't know whether I've showed you this card before or not, maybe I did in a previous video, is this one. This is the Knight of Swords, and you can see here that we have an elder or somebody in a leadership position who is basically shouting, being aggressive. The words that go with this card in the write-up to this deck talks about arrogance. And it's interesting that the sword is lying on the table. Nobody is actually picking it up yet. If you've watched a lot of my work, you'll know that I've got a whole playlist on the energy of Camelot, King Arthur. I believe that that spirit still lives within the land, and we are just waiting for that time for the sword of truth, the sword of the spirit, the sword that the Lady of the Lake yields to be picked up. But right now, what we have is somebody who is just bellowing, dictating to this person here who feels very subservient, feels very overwhelmed, feels actually quite victimized, and it's very much to do with you will do as I say. So what's interesting is the dragons come in, and the first thing that they say is listen to self. Now, many of us, particularly if maybe you're my age or older, we grew up with a respect for authority, and I do believe we still should respect authority, But the point is that we should only respect authority if it's worth respecting. And there is so much corruption now that is being exposed with regards to politicians, with regards to what is being covered up, with regards to basically them lying through their teeth, saying one thing, doing another. Digital ID would be a very good example of that. It's something that will, if brought into law, completely and utterly change the face of this country and the way that we go about our business. And it is being put on us despite a petition of over 3 million people already signing it, saying we don't want it, despite the opposition parties banding together and saying we don't want this. So I think this is a clear message. On one hand, we've got the leader saying you will listen to me, you will do what you're told. And the dragon's coming in and saying, no, you must listen to yourself. And it's interesting that this dragon is green, okay? The Emerald Isle, okay? This green and pleasant land, very much linked into that. Let's just see what's on the bottom of the deck. And the bottom of the deck is the energy of creation. Let me just get that and put that to the camera so you can see it. And then we've also got the energy of independence. And then we've got community. Really interesting. I love the fact that when Spirit says use a deck, and you think, well, why would I want to use the dragon deck to come on and talk about Keir Starmer? It's just so perfect. So let's go through them one by one. Creation. This reminds me of the energy of the void, okay? The darkness and the void. And it is actually in the void that we create anything. And right now, of course, our fear is that what is being created is so dark and unpleasant that we don't want to look at it. We don't want to face it. They are relying on us, feeling overwhelmed, apathetic, and not being able to stand and listen to ourselves and say no. But remember that the void is the void and anything can be created from it. I don't know whether you can see it in this on my camera. I'll just show you in a moment. But what we've actually got is somebody who looks like they are at the centre of the creation. So in this case, you could say it is the government, it is Keir Starmer. But then there is a dragon that is trying to take what is being created out of its hands. Can you see that? There's a dragon there trying to take what is being created in the crucible out of its hands. And this dragon is black, and it reminds me very much of the energy of the phoenix. The black dragon represents liberation and rebirth, very much also like a black crystal, such as black tourmaline. The energy of black in this context is also able to transmute the darkness, is able to go in where others fear to tread, and stop and thwart any plans that are of that lower dimensional frequency that they, I hate to use the word they, but they wish to impose. And what's interesting, again, if we look at this card, is that on the left-hand side, can you see that the left-hand side is made up of lighter vibrations? And that left-hand side is the other timeline that wants to come in, which is by nature lighter. It is... well, it could be anything. It's just a brighter timeline, basically. So there is a sort of a wrestling going on in the energetic fields, in the ethereal world as well, in this land. You know, we see protests out on the streets, people marching, and it feels, does it not, as though however many hundreds of thousands of people take to the streets and say not in my name, that somehow it's not heard, it's not even acknowledged, it's not reported a lot of the time even within mainstream media. So what we've got going on here is that there is another battle happening that we cannot see with our naked eye, but is just as real as the people out on the street saying, "Not in my name." And these are the dragons that are basically fighting for us, fighting the good fight, as it says in that famous hymn, I think it is, fighting the good fight. And it just feels as though that black dragon is going to win no matter what cost. And it's able to go in and do the dirty work and take the prize. But the prize, with regards to somebody that's doing something nefarious and dark, is not anything that we would necessarily want. It's what they want, if that makes sense. So the black dragon's coming in and clearing the way. And then the other two cards that go with this is the cards of independence and community. So let's take one by one. So the first card is independence. I don't know whether it's meant to be a new moon. There's like a black moon there on this card linked into this particular dragon, which is the white dragon. So we've very much got the energy of yin and yang and balance. And what does this, well, independence is independence. I feel as though it's just saying, you know, with this one, listen to self, listen to yourself, keep independent, basically. Keep independent. But we've also got the card of community. But this card of community feels loving and pure, and it feels like it's a happy place. It doesn't feel like it's something that's been done to us. It feels as though it's a good place. So community coming together to maintain sovereignty, win the good fight, and stop this, basically. And I will show you the other cards that came out from the, what is this deck? It's the Gregory Scott Tarot, actually. And I pulled these with regards to Keir Starmer. So we've talked about the Knight of Swords. The next one is the card of the Hierophant, and I'll show it to you in a moment. But what's interesting about this particular depiction of the Hierophant, which is the card of the teacher, but it's also the card of government itself, is the person who's actually sitting on the throne, as it were. This is the governmental throne, looks very childlike. Can you see the depiction here? Very, very childlike. And it just makes me feel as though this is somebody in a leadership position who is out of their depth, who I'm hearing is playing with fire, very much like a child when they don't really understand aspects of what they're doing. Or maybe they do, because I'm also hearing the energy of Firestarter. So it could work both ways. But there's this sort of, put it this way, this is the opposite energy to a very balanced, strong, trusted, loved leader. This is a man-child, basically. This is a man-child. This is also somebody who is stunted with regards to emotional growth. Something that happened in childhood, something linked into the way they were brought up, that is affecting them to this day, but by nature, because of the position of power that they are in, is having wide implications for everybody else who's under their rule. The truth is that a wise and trusted leader doesn't bellow and heckle and make their opponent feel small or disregarded. The third card that I got last night was the Nine of Swords. It is the energy of fear, worry, stress, and I actually think this is Keir. But I'm going to talk a little bit about his numerology, because I had a look at it, and also his date of birth. And it's really, really interesting. I don't think I've ever looked at his date of birth or numerology on this channel. So Keir Starmer was born, let me get my glasses on, was born on the 2nd of September 1962. I think that makes him 63, something like that. Might be wrong. He works out at a 2911 numerology energy. Again, if you've watched me for some time, you know I often talk about the numbers 2911. They're actually master numbers. Now, the thing about master numbers is that they work with regards to both sides of a dualistic fence, as it were. They show the energy of great potential. They show the energy of mastery. But what you have to understand is that this is linked into soul contract. So if this guy is here to shake things up, take things down to the bone, take the UK down to the deepest depths so that it can rise like the phoenix, we hope, he will do that. There are many leaders that actually have a 2911 energy. I can't remember all of whom they are, but I just remember in the past looking at it, and it's quite interesting. It doesn't mean that if you're a 2911 that you are a baddie. It also doesn't mean that you're a goodie. It just means that there is power there. There is power. And it's to do with how are you going to wield that power. And however you wield it, whether for the light or whether for the darkness, it's going to have more strength. It's going to have more potency. He also was born on the 2nd, and number 2 is the energy of the moon. So there's a lot that's veiled about this guy. There's a lot that we can't say online about this guy. There's a lot of media blackout with regards to certain aspects of his life with this guy that I'm not going to go into in this video because I'd like to keep my YouTube channel, but I think most of us know what is speculated. Please don't write it in the comments. Go off and do your own research. But yeah, the moon. But there's also something here about, the moon it fluctuates. It is full and then it's not. It's very cyclical. So it's emotion, basically. Is it hidden emotion? Is it hidden depths? You see, he comes across a bit robotic, as though he doesn't really feel much. But I think underlying it, there is a lot of feeling. The other thing that strikes me, and so I'm just looking down at notes I wrote last night, is that when I felt into that 2911 energy with Keir, the word I've written here is obsession. And I've also written Virgo's shadow, the shadow energy of Virgo. Virgo is many beautiful things, but all signs have a shadow aspect as well. But there's something here about the perfectionism, attention to detail, everything having to be just so. Almost pick up a bit of an OCD type energy with him, actually. Seeing him fiddling with his cuffs, but equally I don't know if I've ever actually seen him fiddling with his cuffs, cuffs on your sleeves. But yeah, something obsessive. And then I thought the other thing that I'm picking up with him is a very strong Pluto energy. Now, I'm not an astrologer, so I thought I might be wrong, might be right, don't know. So I actually went onto another astrologer's site and I had a look. I was so intrigued. And it turns out I was right. He's got Sun conjunct Pluto, Uranus conjunct Pluto, Jupiter opposite Pluto, Neptune sextile Pluto, Mars sextile Pluto, Venus semi-square Pluto. And to that I've written, how deep and dark can you go? And also that he would take others down with him. This whole Pluto energy is dangerous. It is deep. It is dark. It is hidden. Did I say it's explosive? It's explosive. I suspect he's got a very bad temper, actually, behind closed doors. I wouldn't want to cross this guy. Those of you that used to watch my political reads that I did, I would always ask the question, would I like to be in the room with this man or woman? And sometimes the results were surprising. It was like, well, actually, yeah, I would quite enjoy being in their company. I wouldn't want to even be in the room next to this guy. There is something very dark here. But it is part of his soul contract. He is doing what he's meant to be doing. I believe he is meant to be in power at this time. But it's almost the energy of it has to get that dark before we get to the dawn. There are seeds within the UK of very historic, beautiful energies. I'm going back here into Camelot and King Arthur and all of that, you know, and also the magic of these lands. I was watching a video with Steve Judd the other day, and he was talking very knowledgeably actually about crop circles. And I can't remember the percentage that Steve said, but there's an extraordinary percentage with regards to the number of crop circles that are only found in a particular part of southwest England versus anywhere else in the world. So yes, you can get them in other parts of the world, but there's a huge concentration here. And what is that all about? And there is a magic to these lands. And a magic doesn't die. Magic just changes form. But the seeds of the magic and the mythology and the land are waiting to be stirred. And I've said this before in other videos, I know. But I'm just trying to make you see in this video that they need the sun to help them illuminate and grow, yeah? But the sun comes after the night sky. You need something to instigate change and evolution, revolution, something to kick back against, particularly in an apathetic age, in an age where everyone is on their phone. There are more people in our country at the moment obsessed with a TV series called The Traitors, which is a good series, actually. I'm enjoying it too. But rather than trying to find out who the real traitors are in our actual reality, not on the TV, not those who are playing a game for entertainment, those who are playing a different type of game, but we are the pawns in it. We're not trying to find out who those traitors are or expose them. Well, many of us are actually, but I'm talking about the apathetic, unawake. I think it's a miracle actually that 3 million people have signed the petition against digital ID. We've got about 70 million in this country, something like that. But the fact that 3 million have bothered to do it is quite something. But again, it's being completely ignored and disregarded. So let's now get to some cards. And do you know, I'm going to start with a Knights Templar tarot. I haven't used this for a while. I believe that I was a Knights Templar. Some of you might have been as well. Again, within the Knights Templar, there were those who were fighting the good fight and those who were the traitors. So you may have been one or the other, I don't know. I believe I was one of the White Knights though, and I was fighting for the good in that lifetime. And actually, if you've had a lifetime like that, it stays with you. And you're always going to be a champion of truth. The Hierophant card has just come out, and also the energy of the Fool. I'll show that in a moment. Okay, what Metatron is saying to me is Knights Templar legacy. You will always be somebody who challenges authority. I mean, that's certainly true in my life. I've always challenged authority. And by that, I just mean Or back to what the dragon has said, I've listened to myself. Just because the government has told me to do something, going back into pandemic times, I didn't do it. I thought for myself. I made a decision for myself, despite, you know, the advertising campaigns and the incentives and the peer pressure and the billboards and the gaslighting. I was able to make my own decision. Thank you very much. That's just one example. It's also why I'm self-employed. I have my own business. I have worked for other people and I've been a good team player, but I'm much more comfortable working for myself. Because that's sort of the energy of what I'm tuning into here with regards to you as well, if you're resonating with this. Knights Templar energy. We are our own people, you know. We won't be told what to do. We'll do it if it's right. If it's not right, we will challenge it. So with regards to something like digital ID, how does that feel to me? It doesn't feel okay. Haven't yet crossed the line in terms of what do we do if we're faced with it, because I'm in the place still of trying to manifest in a timeline when it doesn't come in. And that is there. It's just more of us have got to get onto that timeline of manifesting the reality of a big fat no, you know, with regards to that. So we have the energy of the Hierophant, and we've also got the energy of the Fool, who looks a bit mad in this deck. But I quite like the fact that he looks a little bit mad, because don't you have to be a little bit mad to challenge and go against the crowd? Is that not the truth? Yes, you will be called mad as well. You will be told that you don't know what you're doing, that actually you're causing harm by breaking away from the crowd. The black sheep is usually the one that actually knows the most, though. But from a spiritual perspective, you do it in the most loving way that you can, in the most inclusive way that you can. But this fool, he looks like he's having a blast, basically. Okay, right, so that's us. I feel that's us. Let's just pull a card now with regards to Keir Starmer. As I say, all the time remembering soul contract, 2911. He's doing what he's meant to be doing. And by that, I'm talking about taking us to the depths, where you can't see it, but I can't make this stuff up. I always have some music playing. I know you can't hear it in the background, but right now I am watching, it's fish. It's like a coral reef. So I was talking about going to the depths, because you see, even in the depths, there is beauty. It's what you choose to focus on. Anyway, the moon. Sorry, the moon is on the bottom of the deck, which is Keir's card, because he's a number 2. So let's just look at that card. Oh, and then we've got the Tower. Okay. And then we've got the 3 of Swords. I shouldn't be so gleeful. It's just that, you know, I do care about my country and I don't like the way it's going, but equally I can see the soul contract of the man. Okay, let me show you these cards one by one. We've got the Moon, the Tower and the 3 of Swords, and then I'll pull again. These were all on the bottom of the deck, which means that it's not quite yet here, but it is potentially coming, which is the ending of this guy and his time. So at the moment, the moon, sorry, I need to look at it before I show it to you. He is standing before 2 paths, and it's quite interesting because one path leads somewhere solid. It's actually 2 towers, interestingly. So it could be a reference to the 2 towers or not. 9/11, I'm talking. Not sure about that, but the other path leads towards the moon. Okay, let me just do that. Can you see that card? So this is where he is at the moment. He doesn't actually know what to do at the moment. It's interesting because he certainly comes across as though he knows what he's doing, but there is a degree of, he's got the moon, you see. Even in the Tower, the moon is there. He can't get away from the energy of the moon, this guy. He is definitely influenced by the energy of the moon. But is this also the energy of the divine feminine? okay? He has an issue with the divine feminine. Yes, he has got women in positions of power, but he threw Angela Rayner under the bus, who was the Deputy Prime Minister. I mean, many would say deservedly so. He has a Chancellor of the Exchequer who is widely mocked, and he allows that. She's out of her depth and he knows it, but it's almost as though she's a scapegoat, because when people are mocking her and laughing at her and bad-mouthing her, the heat is off him. That's his view of it. So he doesn't care about her at all. There's no love lost there. It's very Machiavellian. I don't even know what Machiavellian means, but I'm just hearing very Machiavellian. I guess I have to look up what Machiavellian means. I could hazard a guess, but let me just see, because I don't think it's ever a word that I have used on this channel. Can I even spell it is the question. Machiavellian meaning. It means cunning, scheming, and unscrupulous, especially in politics. Well, there you go. I didn't know that that's what it meant. Okay. A whole range of outrageous Machiavellian manoeuvres. Yeah, he almost revels in, there was that thing when she was in tears in Parliament, which, to be honest, whatever you think about her policies, this government's policies, I don't like to see anybody emotionally upset like that. The tears were real, whatever had caused them. And, I always have a nod to people's mental health, whoever they are. I'd include somebody like Prince Andrew in that as well. I've said on my previous Prince Andrew video, I think that guy, he needs to watch his life, basically, whether it's that he could do something stupid or whether somebody's out to get him. But, mental health is mental health. Even Fergie, bless her, who really, she has made her own bed, but she's said to be falling apart, having a nervous breakdown, deeply depressed. As a spiritual being, how could I not have some sympathy for that? Because is that not the spiritual path? The spiritual path isn't there to just throw rocks and stones at somebody when they are already on the floor. Not in my world, anyway. This sunlight is actually annoying me a little bit, but I just need to close one blind. Hold on. Made absolutely no difference. I said actually in a previous video, my Halloween video, that sometimes when my face is half dark and half light, as it is now in the sunshine, I know it's winter, so the sun is different in this room, but it's always perfect with regards to the subject that I'm talking about, because this guy, it's like what you see and what you get, who he is, who he appears to be and who he actually is. There's two different sides to him. Anyway, back to the cards. We've got the Moon followed by the Tower. There is something coming in, which is absolutely going to bring an ending. Three of Swords. Okay. Now, we could hazard a guess what this is. Wondering if it could be linked into the Chinese scandal. I mean, I don't even really keep up with it all anymore, because it's all just so blinking depressing. Or whether it's something from his private life, or whether it's just something else, whether it is digital ID, I don't know. Let's just see if I can get any clarification on the Tower. I might not be able to, because the Tower is the Tower, and by nature it comes in unexpectedly. But let's just see if the cards will tell us anything else about the ending of Keir Starmer. We've got the energy of the Empress and Strength. And the Two of Wands. Page of Cups and the World. There's definitely something here about feminine energy. Women in particular standing up and saying no. I mean, this could also be the immigration crisis that we've got. I think my last video that I did on Keir, I said something along the lines of women being very concerned for their safety in their communities. And that is a real thing that is being gaslit. But women feeling threatened in their very societies. There's a empress there breastfeeding her baby. She's shielded by the cross and the lion. The Two of Wands feels as though it goes with this card, the Moon. It feels as though he misjudges something. I mean, I know you're saying, well, he misjudges things the whole time, but there's something that is a big misjudgment tied into women and how they feel, also, and children also. Because this Two of Wands, to me, this guy looks very stern. It's almost as though you made a wrong choice somewhere. You took your eye off the ball. You didn't realise the strength of public opinion. And then we've got the Page of Cups, and this is contrition. Contrition. Can you see that card? Somebody kneeling before an altar. The cross is lying flat upon it. Again, it's still not picked up. And then we've got the World, and we've got Joan of Arc. Joan of Arc, the world, the completion of a cycle. This is divine feminine energy, somehow bringing about his demise. Is it linked into a woman that he's crossed? Be it his wife, be it Angela Rayner, or is it just the women of the country that, as I say, stand up and say no? I'm just going to see if I can get anything else. What has this guy done to anger women so? It's also not just women, it's fact that men standing up for their women. The Five of Pentacles. I was asking, what has he done? That's the Three of Swords. What has he done to anger women so? We've got the Five of Pentacles. We've got men running. The energy of men fighting. I think this is linked into immigration, to be honest. Illegal immigration, okay? Not legal immigration, illegal immigration. Watch my last video. This is men on the run. This is men who have come in, who are creating havoc in communities. Not all, of course. There are many amazing legal immigrants that come in who contribute beautifully to this country, and we want them. But not the ones who come in and rape and maim and, you know, all the rest of it. I think that's what it is. Okay. Right. Well, what else to say? Digital ID. Okay. So digital ID. So I did say I wasn't going to explain all about it because I'm not 100% knowledgeable on all aspects of it. But there is something here, the downsides of digital ID. Increased risks of data breaches and identity theft, concerns about privacy and potential for mass surveillance, exclusion of individuals without digital access or technological literacy. That would include old people. If you haven't got an iPhone or a smartphone, then how do you use it? Other drawbacks involve biometric vulnerabilities, dependence on technology that can fail, and incompatibility issues between different systems. I believe he's on record recently saying that you would have to pay £85 if you don't show your digital ID or don't have it to hand. You'd need it pretty much for every aspect of life. It's obviously tied into, you know, as it is introduced, it looks fairly benign. I mean, I don't think it looks benign at all, but, you know, it doesn't look too bad for the average unawakened person on the street. But it's what's behind it and what it can become longer term. And I honestly thought this was a spoof the other day. Let me just find it. I think it was NatWest. One of the major banks in the UK. But they've got something called they're already monitoring your carbon footprint, basically. They've got something called a carbon footprint tracker, where at the moment it's not compulsory, but you can turn it on or turn it off, and it estimates the impact of your spending on the climate. So every time you pay for something with your NatWest card, it obviously shows up on your online statement or your paper statement, and then it has beside it the number of carbon points that you've used, be it buying a new coat or buying some potatoes or going to the cinema or flying abroad or anything like that. And of course, the danger of it is that somewhere down the line, they can impose a limit with regards to the number of points that you're able to spend each month with your own money. You know, I'm about to go out to Switzerland, actually. And yeah, they do have the thing now where you have to put your fingerprints on to get through and all that type of stuff. But my view at the moment is, well, I'm going to do that because I want to see the mountains. But if they were asking me to ingest something before doing so, that would be my no. So we all have to come up with what we're comfortable with, what we're not. I mean, I prefer it just to be the old days where I just showed my passport book. But, you know, it's a really difficult world right now, and we're having to make decisions. We're just having to make decisions, aren't we? But that carbon footprint tracker I thought was absolutely appalling. And no way am I buying into that. You know, can we not be responsible in our own way with regards to our consumption, for example, and how much meat, for example, we're allowed to eat is also being mooted. And, you know, there's so much that people just, their eyes are not open to. Okay, let's pull some cards then with regards to digital ID in the UK. At the moment, they're saying it won't be compulsory, but I believe that past a certain date, you are going to need it if you want to change job. But as I say, it's not actually law yet. Question is it going to become law? Before I get to that, let me just pull a few cards on digital ID. Show me the energy of digital ID. Using a different deck here. This is the Halloween Yesteryear deck. We've got the Ace of Swords. There's two ways we could view that card. Number one, absolutely they wish to do it. They have the power to do it. They have the strength to do it. They have a very well thought out, it's very well thought out. It's already in a very advanced stage to implement. The other way would be, are we going to pick up the metaphorical sword, not a literal sword? I'm not advocating for violence in any shape or form, but are we going to pick up the Arthurian sword and find our balls, as I've said before in previous videos? They can only do it if we comply. If enough people say no, the whole thing falls apart. It's as simple as that. It is as simple as that. But again, back to this first card. This is what he and other governments are relying on, which is that this guy, there's no way he's about to pick up that sword because he's just been beaten into submission energetically, emotionally, by... Now, you see, it's interesting. I was going to say a higher power, but of course they don't have any power unless we give it to them. The higher power is actually within ourselves, and also, of course, our guides. What our guides are encouraging us to do is to pick up the sword, okay, and fight this. Knight of Cups is on the bottom of the deck, and the Magician, actually, and the Eight of Cups. Okay, that's nice. That's nice. Show you the cards in a moment. What's this saying? It's saying to me that this whole subject of digital ID is making people very emotional. It is rallying a certain portion of the population. I rather like the fact that even though this isn't the Knights Templar deck that I'm using, it's a Halloween inspired deck. I don't know if you can see, but on the breastplate here of this guy's armour, it almost looks like the Knights Templar cross. So it's rallying people. They're very emotional about it. Is this the thing that makes people finally wake up to their own magic and to walk away from that which does not serve them, basically? They don't want it. You know, we already have ID in terms of passports, driving licenses, national insurance numbers. I've lived 58 years in this country. I've never had a problem being able to identify who I am. They probably know everything about me anyway. It's just another whole level that is not needed. So I'd like to think that people are waking up to that. But anyway, let's just pull a few cards. That, again, it feels like it's us. Every time I ask the cards about things in this reading, it's as though it's throwing it back onto us. What are we going to do about it? Because yes, Ace of Swords, the agenda is already in place. They absolutely would like to be able to flick a switch and just bring this online very quickly. Let's see, digital ID. How likely at the moment is it to become reality in the UK? We've got the Hermit and we've got the Lovers. We've got the Sun. We've got the Eight of Wands and we've got Justice. Right. Oh, and then we've got the Four of Swords. Right. Then we've got the Two of Swords. Right, what this is saying is there is a clear choice, obviously. What needs to happen is people need to go within to actually really think about the choice that we're being presented with here. The more that the sun illuminates what this is actually all about, i.e. more information comes out with regards to where this could potentially lead. And this is very dependent, not just on us, but on our opposition leaders, actually, whatever you think about them, of all of the major parties, coming together and explaining it like we are idiots, you know, because there are some people who need to be spoken to a bit like that. I mean, maybe idiots isn't the right word, but what's that series of books that's called with regards to learn Spanish ABC? It is called The Idiot's Guide, isn't it? The Idiot's Guide to Spanish, or The Idiot's Guide to cooking, or The Idiot's Guide to anything. There almost needs to be an idiot's guide here. I'm sorry, but it's as though there is a portion of the population that is just so dumbed down. And I'm also feeling the energy of education, which is not as it was, and social media and technology, just not caring, not wanting to know. There needs to be a very loud clarion call here with regards to, you need to understand the choice here. You need to go within and start to understand. And the sun energy is, we are going to try our best to illuminate that. There definitely, though, feels a counter reaction, which is the Eight of Wands. This is very Batman energy. This is government then throwing everything it's got back at the counter movement. Then we get to the energy of justice, which is some type of decision that has to be made. And then we've got the Four of Swords, followed by the Two of Swords. So to me, this is really saying that I'm feeling it gets very close to implementation, but there is a possibility here of it being put to bed. What I mean by that is, thwarted, basically. Four of Swords is typically a card of stopping, having to stop, pause, rest. It could even just be that the whole idea just gets shuffled onto the back burner for the next term of government. Thing is, they won't be the next government. There's no way that they will get back into power next time. Absolutely none. I think any British person, even, you know, if you voted for them, most people know that they're not going to get back in. Deeply, deeply unpopular. There's nothing they can do at this point that would get them back into power next term. So I'm wondering whether what this is all about is actually saying it gets shunted further down the line, and then the next government, whoever they are, either throws it out or, again, it's just on the back burner, dependent on who that person is, of course. I think this is quite clear that it's saying at the moment, as I say, end of October I'm reading this, things could change. They're going to have a they're going to find it hard to get this across the line. Now, I am going to ask the question, if they somehow just forced it upon us, what would that look like? Let's go to a different deck. Let's go to this deck. If somehow, in a very dictatorial manner, it literally just gets through, whether through Machiavellian ways or not, what would happen after that if it did become law? I mean, people would wake up pretty quickly after it had become law. 3 of Pentacles, yeah. King of Cups. Digital ID if it became law. Strength. The cards just keep repeating the same message, that it's almost as though whatever happens, whatever they try to do, there is this energy of coming together. Look at this, the 3 of Wands and the Strength card. And the 4 of Wands, actually. And we've also got the energy of the 3 of Pentacles, which is the energy of work, working together. Working together with strength. Going through a gateway. Who's the King of Cups, though? Don't know who the King of Cups is. Oh, is that William? Maybe that's William. William's a Cancerian, isn't he? I mean, we're going ahead in time now. I don't know what time frame I'm talking about. It certainly doesn't feel like it's this year. If it were to, if, I'm just literally hanging on to a loose timeline here. If it came in during the time of King William, it would go against the whole energy of what he's here to do, which is to bring in a more heart-centered consciousness. It's the Arthurian energy. It wouldn't be able to last, basically. It would be out of sync with the new rhythm of the land. Yeah, it just wouldn't. It wouldn't work. Okay. How are we doing for time? I think I've spoken for quite some length, so I think I will end this just by asking if there's anything else that wants to come through with regards to UK, and we're going to go to the Merlin spray. Merlin. The alchemist, Merlin. And also very much of the land, of the kingdom, of the people. Excalibur, he's saying, Excalibur. He who wields Excalibur wins the day. Excalibur never gets into the wrong hands going forward. Okay, so the one who yields Excalibur is the one who wins the day. There is no way hell would freeze over, is being said, for Keir Starmer to get his hands on Excalibur. He'd like to, but he will never be able to. It will always be hidden out of view by the moon. And he may be forever searching for it, but it will be forever lost to him. And the one who ultimately holds Excalibur is the people. It is the energy of the people of this land, the people of these isles who come together, united, remembering what it is to be British. And this includes our multicultural heritage too. We were always an isle that was made up of many different peoples. from the Vikings to the Saxons, to those that came legally to these shores and built fortune and favour upon her. These shores will always welcome you. To those that seek to lower, harm, maim, and destroy what now is, there will be just an empty room. And I'm just hearing the bird song outside my window. And I'm hearing the breeze and the trees and the wisdom of nature that knows that we get through these days, that rightful heritage is restored, true diplomacy, sovereignty, and light to this land. And with that, Merlin turns back into the forest, staff in hand, and walks away. Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed that video. Take great care. I will see you soon. If you did enjoy the video, please like it, hype it, and I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye for now. Bye.